So I'm pretty sure that, free energy would cause more problems than anything else. I don't think that that's a good idea. We have whole wars over oil and gas and natural resources. So if you find a limitless resource, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that folks would find even more of a reason to war. I mean, they're just gonna try to find a way to control it. Punk, do you know like the people that you're dealing with in this world that you live in? Again, celestial dragons are terrible people. They consider themselves gods, but they're terrible people. I don't really know what the Void Century was like fought over. Was it the ancient weapons? Was it this free energy source? I'm pretty sure it might have been the energy source. Like, it seems like something that the world government would want for themselves and just want to keep to themselves. I don't see how this could solve the energy crisis. I get it. Like it's a free energy source that's limitless. It's Nick Urameshi here again with another One Piece chapter review. It's that time again. We might as well just go ahead and jump into this. By the way, appreciate everybody that stopped by to check out that Power Rangers video I put out a few days ago. It was really a tribute to Jason David Frank, the best Power Ranger. So there's still time to check that out. Video's not going anywhere. Have y'all been watching my other videos? Like, just saying. Cover story is the first thing, and the German 66 cover story is still going on. Last time we left off, I think Judge was like, who are you again, to Caesar? And basically how that led into this is they got to scrapping. Goes on and confirms, yeah, they were both in MADs. I don't know how the MADs work, like how we'll have to see how that backstory went eventually. When we get that dynamic, that's kind of what I'm waiting for with that. Like, I want to see what Vegapunk's reaction is going to be towards Caesar when he gets around him. I kind of feel like it's going to be the opposite of how Caesar is. Like, Vegapunk probably looks at Caesar as like maybe like a little brother or son or something like that, and Caesar just hates him. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in my other videos, but the Maz group were the guys that actually not created but discovered the lineage factor in the One Piece world, the DNA of like everything in One Piece, like people, animals, stuff like that. CP0 arrived at Egghead at this point. They're basically talking to Vegapunk, well, one of the Vegapunks. It's actually Pythagoras at this point, and he's basically trying to politely tell them to go away. Like, you can leave the Seraphim Kuma, which they're calling S-Bear. Kuma is Japanese for bear. All of the Seraphim have this kind of code name, like Boa Hancock. Her code name, her Seraphim's code name is S-Snake, and Mihawk's what is it? Oh, obviously it's S-Hawk. Tell Lucci and them to leave the S-Bear at the door. Don't call us, we'll call you. Oh yeah, also, I guess I should mention this. Kaku, you know Kaku, the long-nosed guy, not the long-nosed guy, the long square-nosed guy. He's basically like, oh, you can at least let us in for some tea or something like that. Now, I've watched a few videos on this, and apparently everybody's thinking that this is gonna be, the setup for Zoro versus Kaku again. I'm not buying it right now. I mean, yeah, I see it happening, but like, it will be a little bit just too on the nose if Zoro just all of a sudden gets lost and then he just runs into Kaku. Because you're gonna see why I say this, because like towards the end of the chapter, they're gonna end up Luffy's, I'll just go ahead and say it now. Luffy's group is gonna end up meeting Lucci and them at a certain point, and I could see a situation where like Kaku and Zoro could fight just based off of Zoro getting lost, basically. Like, I could obviously see him just hanging with Brook. They're drinking tea. Brook goes to like use the bathroom even though he's only made of bones, yo ho ho, and yeah, Zoro just is gone when he comes back. And then Zoro's like, I'm just kind of bored. I'll just go walk around or something to explore. Even though it's kind of contradictory to what he said before because he really wanted to stay behind and watch the ship. But I can see him doing this and then just getting lost and just conveniently being right with Luffy's group at the right time for Kaku to see him and be like, oh, round 2 time, Pirate Hunter. Aren't you that giraffe guy? I went on too long about that giraffe bastard, so yeah, back to stuff that actually matters. Lucci basically starts to interrogate Pythagoras at this point. Like he's kind of like, yeah, so there were some ships that disappeared. They were all Cypher Pole ships. Do you know anything about that? And Pythagoras is kind of like, well, no, we don't know anything about that. Actually, no. CP5 ship vanished 2 months ago. CP7 ship vanished 1 month ago. And CP8 ship vanished only 2 weeks ago. Yeah, basically, Vegapunk has been smoking like Cypher Pole ships. And he's been doing it with those sea beasts that are surrounding the island. Pythagoras is playing it off right now like, no, we've heard nothing about that. But, you know, Lilith is right there too. And she's, you know, being Lilith. Why am I saying being Lilith like I've known her for this long? But that's the beauty of One Piece characters. It doesn't really take you long to understand their character personalities and quirks. So Lilith is basically like, oh, you think we did it? That's what you're saying? You think we got rid of them? Is that what you want to say right now? Okay, you can come in. We'll let you in. We'll let you see we didn't do anything. You know, Pythagoras is trying to shut it down like, no, that's not what we want. We don't want that at all. Lucci, being the smug bastard that he is, he's just like, okay, very well, understood. This is obviously very bad. I think even like you know, the Vegapunks even know like, okay, yeah, he's obviously gonna sneak up in here. Like, I don't think there's anything we can do about that. Like, but we would at least need to be planning to stop him. Lucci's plan here is to use S-Bear, Kuma clone, to, you know, basically use his artificial devil fruit powers to, you know, get into the island. Because, you know, that's what Kuma's powers are. He has the pawpaw fruits. And he can, if he touches you, he can basically send you far distances really, really fast. It's not really, it's kind of like teleporting, but not really, because it still takes you a certain amount of time to actually get there, especially if you're traveling long distances. Like when, you know, he sent all the Straw Hats like all across the world, and it took them like 3 days to like fly to each place they were going to. Vegapunk can clone, yeah, he can clone devil fruits, and he's done it perfectly before, obviously, because I guess the Kuma, at least the devil fruit powers are working, but we don't really know what the glitches are. They said that the glitches is that he's not responding. I think he said that he's not responding to orders or something like that. But Lucci kind of figures that if they just sneak away at this point, like, we're just going to end up getting put in a sea beast pack. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're screwed either way there. We can take out a few, yeah, but I mean, it's like 10 of them. If it's 10 of them, we're screwed. Now we cut over to Kamabaki Kingdom, and Kuma, who was, you know, I think at the end of the last chapter, he was taking all those tubes out of him, you know, medical cords and stuff like that out of himself, and he was running off somewhere. Now in this chapter, he's using his pawpaw abilities and teleporting himself. And my guess is, 9 out of 10, everybody's guess is, that he's heading to Egghead to save Bonnie. Or maybe Vegapunk is calling him here. And maybe this is instinctual. We get Vegapunk's dream in this chapter too. We go back over to the Egghead junkyard, and this is where Luffy's group and Vegapunk is. And Luffy's basically like, yeah, I'm not understanding any of this. Like, why do you want to come with us, old man? And Vegapunk basically explains his dream. His dream is to give free energy to the world, basically. This will end the energy crisis, in his opinion. Like I explained in the beginning of the video, like, yeah, I don't really think that this is an actual, like, conclusion to the energy crisis problem, because you got like some pretty shitty people in the One Piece world. Like, niggas literally be starting wars, it feels like, just for the fuck of it sometimes. I mean, then you got the celestial dragons too. Like, once again, they literally use, well, I didn't figure out what the name of it is yet, but the walkway, the electric walkway in the airports that just move by themselves, yeah. They be using people power, man. So he basically says that this energy is like basically all around them. And if he can harness this mysterious, limitless power, he'll be able to make this dream a reality. This gets me to thinking, like, he's saying that this energy source is basically all around them. And they look up at the sky and they see like this swirl around. I think that's just like clouds and stuff. But honestly, I do feel like this energy source is something that's like right in our face. You feel me? Like something that is like abundant in the One Piece world, that is literally all around them, like all the time. What could that? Seawater. It's gotta be seawater. Our world is like literally made up of like 71% of water, and the One Piece world is like at least like 80. Shout out to Teching for this, because geography is everything. So yeah, if I could have a theory, like, just for what the hell is going on right now, it would be that, yeah, seawater is the main source of limitless energy. Has to be. It's like literally all around y'all. I mean, other than that, I mean, if I could just think of anything like a magical like solution to this, it would probably be like the power of happiness or something. Or it could be like the fire that we were talking about like a few chapters ago. From chapter 1, we've known that water is the main weakness of devil fruits. Water has also created sky islands, though. I mean, I've had wilder theories, honestly. Wait until you hear my VV equals EAM theory. But I will admit, the only reason I'm saying this could be a possibility is because it would be an interesting parallel to me to devil fruits. Devil fruits are like a main power source in the One Piece world, for people in general. So like, the main weakness to devil fruits is seawater. So what if, like, a use for seawater would be a power source of like to generate energy. Now Luffy really don't give a damn about any of this, because he really doesn't get it. I mean, honestly, it is kind of confusing, even to me, honestly. But Jinbei basically tries to break it down for him a little bit, just basically explaining that, yeah, wars are fought over energy sources all the time, and the resources needed to make energy. I'm not saying that Luffy actually understands this, but Vegapunk kind of just agrees with Jinbei, like, that's exactly what I mean, basically. And yeah, everything that he was like doing, like trying to, why he's looking for this like energy source, and what sparked that is basically him finding that giant on Egghead Island. And when he found the mechanical giant, he started to investigate the ancient fuel. And by investigating the ancient fuel, that led him into investigating more about the Void Century, which would lead him to, basically taking on the will of Professor Clover. And that's when we hear an explosion in the background. And that's when Vegapunk's just like, basically, I fucked up. And I may have learned too much. Well, not may have learned. I definitely learned too much. And I really need y'all to get me out of here. So can we leave? Because CP0 is literally after me. Now, this is Luffy's first time ever hearing of CP0. He's only ever dealt with CP9, but there are like not different versions, but there's like a cipher pole for like different situations, and CP0 just so happens to be like the coldest. They deal with the most tasking shit basically, and they also protect the celestial dragons directly. Jinbei actually calls them the harbingers of catastrophe. Like, I don't know if that's gonna play any relevance. I mean, I guess they did kind of they didn't really bring catastrophe when they went with Eddie's line. I mean, it was a catastrophe, but it was only a catastrophe because Luffy kind of ruined their plans. So I guess they kind of bring catastrophe. I mean, even in this chapter, they kind of bring a little bit of catastrophe. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get shut down pretty soon though. Cut over to Shaka and the other Straw Hats. And they're still stuck, trapped, and, magnetized to the floor. Shaka basically tells the other Vegapunks to go ahead and deploy the other Seraphim. This would be S-Snake, S-Hawk, and S-Shark. Boa Hancock, Mihawk, and Jinbei clones, respectively. Oh, and he entrusts them to Sentomaru. Okay, Sentomaru's pop. Why didn't I think about Sentomaru being here? Like, that should have just popped up into my... I think it's because I forgot. Because, obviously I forgot. Because Sentomaru, basically, at the beginning of the time skip, he was like already like saying that he was now an officer in the Navy or something like that. But that was the last time we seen. He hasn't popped up since. Like, he was the dude that was like weird, the fat guy that was, doing all he was like not the first one to do hockey, but like he was another person to do hockey on Luffy. And then Luffy was like, wait a minute, why are these attacks hitting me and hurting me? I'm made of rubber. And then he's kind of like, yeah, I know hockey, that's why. And he's also got this weird thing where he says that he's like solid as a rock with the secrets and stuff. But then if you ask him something, he goes on ahead and tells you. Like, that's his thing. He's kind of quirky in a good way. Like, you can possibly see him be a good guy, but he's also the nephew of Kizaru, so that's kind of iffy. Like, there's a lot of, double agent shit going on, it seems like. We gotta wait to see how that goes when he actually shows up. Like, is he gonna be on Vegapunk's side when things go to shit? Or will he, betray him? Only time will tell on this one. So Luffy's just pretty much cool with Vegapunk coming. So hashtag Vegapunk for Straw Hat confirmed. Not really. Don't just go off of that. It's more complicated than that. He's probably gonna be like a law in this situation. Like, he's just gonna be along for the ride, not really a real crew member. But I could be wrong. We were kind of wishing for Yamato to be a crew member, but we might just get an old man instead. Luffy didn't give a damn about this story. He was already sold on the idea of Vegapunk joining the crew in his head anyway, because Vegapunk's head literally is missing half of it and has an apple core sticking out of it. So that's enough for Luffy. You know what? I'm a simple man. It's enough for me too, honestly. I mean, yeah, it's cool that he's a genius, but, how often do you get to hang out with a guy with an apple core sticking out of his head that's not an idiot? Think of how many interesting conversations you can have with a guy with an apple core sticking out of his head. Just think about that. That would be a pretty interesting day. I promise I don't do drugs. So he tells them to bring Bonnie to the lab above the clouds, and then he just teleports away. Like, he has warping technology, and they're all surprised. And Jinbei's kind of like, okay, yeah, I've had enough of this shit. Like, it's just science everywhere at this point. Come on. Can't we just have some regular stairs somewhere? Like with CP0, they're fighting this hologram space monster. Stussy kind of tells them late notice that, yeah, it's not a space monster, it's a hologram. But, you guys were doing a good job. You know, you're wasting your time, but you're doing a good job. It's kind of irritating Kaku a little bit. He's still doing his old man speech patterns for, I don't know. He's not an old guy. He's young, actually, in the world of One Piece. He's not old. He's just a weird nigga. Like, he just be like, you know, talking like an old man for some reason. Maybe we just need to learn more about his backstory. And honestly, I'm gonna be saying that probably about each one of them, like Lucci and Stussy a little bit, because their characters are kind of opening up a little bit more in this chapter. Akaku's still a goofball, but Stussy like is telling them, okay, those are holograms. All these townspeople, don't worry about them, they're holograms. You know, if you try to attack them, you know, Lucci, I know you be doing some weird shit. Like, it wouldn't matter because they're not real. And this is when Kaku starts like trying to hop up to the top of Egghead basically to get to the lab or whatever. She kind of lets him know late notice that that if he basically goes up to a certain height, like where these lines are at on the clouds, he'll be bombarded by laser beams basically, and it happens. And then I'm starting to look at Stussy a little bit like, huh? You sure you're not a good guy, Stussy? Now I'm not gonna lie. I've seen other people say this too. Like, it kind of seems like it at this point. Like, you sure? Are you sure you're not a good guy? Like I said, these backstories, they haven't been opened up yet. But she's a little bit interesting because I kind of feel like she might be a creation of Vegapunk. Like, I'm having some weird theories here today, but like, it was the reaction that she made to who pops up next, the Atlas. She's like a little heart that, I think that's just one of her speech patterns. Like, she has like a heart that pops up every time she talks in the chapter, basically. I don't know. Maybe it's something I just never noticed before. But like, at the same time, she just knows too damn much about this island. And yes, I get that that's her thing, intel, but like, is it not weird that, you know, when she finally pops up and does the intel thing, she just knows like so much about this island and the inhabitants and stuff like that? I don't know, it's kind of weird. Now this is where things kind of get bad and kind of sparks off the action. Now remember, Lucci is a master of all of the 6 powers. So Atlas tries to attack Lucci. It doesn't work. She automatically gets KO'd by Lucci's Rokyo-gun, which is the move that he used against Luffy. You know, that Knuckle Kamehameha. No, that's the best way I think I can explain it. The Knuckle Kamehameha. But it's basically like, if you learn all the 6 powers that Cypher Pole members have to learn, and like, you know, they basically give you access to this move. Now she does live, but she got half her face blown off at the same time. So almost as if fate was controlling their strings like a puppet, Luffy's group just happens to be walking right by at the same time all this is going on. And he's just going on about, yeah, let's go to that vacuum rocket thing. And it kind of makes me think of those things from Futurama. I think that's what he's saying. I don't know, because I don't know if we've seen anything like that, but like, it kind of sounds like the little transportation tubes that they had in Futurama. I could see something like that being here. It's the island of the future. And that's when the fateful encounter happens, folks. Lucci looks at him like, Straw Hat? And Luffy looks at him like, Pigeon Guy? And there's no break next week. So, yeah. That's it. Like, okay. So, I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't see it being a battle that's fully fleshed out where Luffy just beats the shit out of Lucci. I don't see anything like that happening. Honestly, I do see some double crossing that might happen though. Like, I see seeds of deceit on the CP0 side. Like, I see maybe Stussy. It could be Lucci, honestly. I mean, Lucci wants answers. I mean, he was already asking questions that he wasn't supposed to be asking a few chapters ago before they arrived on Egghead Island. He was asking about, like, isn't it weird that, the government is sending us after Vegapunk and, all of a sudden that other kingdom of the place that no one shall speak of, and I'm not gonna speak of because I don't remember the name right now. Yeah, it blew up and now we're going after Vegapunk. Yeah, I think Lucci he might just want some answers. And Kaku, he's just being Kaku, kind of just, Kaku's cool, I'm not gonna lie. His quirk is kind of cool. He talks like an old man and stuff, and then he turns into a sword fighting giraffe. We really need to talk about the GOAT of the chapter, because he was here the whole time and didn't have to say a word to still be the GOAT of the chapter. That's right, I'm talking about Hattori. Let's talk about Luffy for a second. How does Luffy feel about seeing Pigeon Guy again? Last time he beat the shit out of Lucci and he did not kill him, so yeah, it was obvious, and people have been saying that it was gonna be obvious that they were gonna cross paths eventually again. But now that we've gotten it, we know what Luffy can do. We know he's got Gear 5, and yeah, he may not have been, we don't know if he's been practicing with it, honestly, but at the same time, probably not, because it hasn't been that much time after. But still, in 2 weeks, he was able to get strong enough to beat Kaido, so yeah. And also, I should go ahead and mention this. This is not going to be, this next chapter, if they do fight, this is not going to be a chapter to see how strong Luffy is against Lucci at this point. No, it's going to be a chapter to see how strong Lucci is against Luffy. We know how strong Luffy is. Hell, we just seen him take down an emperor almost by himself. But Lucci is a different story. I mean, Luffy already beat Lucci once before, and that was 2 years ago. Lucci's had time to polish those skills and everything. And while I may not like the smug bastard, he still was a little bit of a problem the last time Luffy dealt with him. And with 2 years to train, I'm guaranteeing that nigga got Conqueror's Haki. I'm guaranteeing that he's way more proficient with his 6 powers, and he's probably learned an awakening at this point. Now, could this be a situation to see what a Zoan awakening looks like outside of Gear 5? Not sure. But it would be interesting to see, and I could see if it would happen, it probably would be with Lucci. I mean, yeah, Lucci is a fan favorite character, and also he probably does hold the second best fight in the One Piece story. I mean, my personal favorite is Luffy versus Katakuri. I mean, Snake Man, all that stuff. I am interested in seeing this, but I'm not too sure that it's going to be what we think it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's gonna be as clear cut and dry as we want this situation to be. Like I said before, I feel like Zoro could just pop up at any time. But if I could just plan out who's gonna fight who in this situation, obviously Luffy's gonna fight Lucci. If I could put Jinbei with anybody right now, know what you're thinking. It would be Kaku, right? Nah, I'm not doing that. That's too easy. I put him up against Stussy, and then have Chopper fight Kaku. This would be probably a little bit of, training time for Chopper, maybe. I'm kind of just, I don't want it to be too obvious what happens here. And I feel like the obvious answer would be just place Kaku up against Jinbei and, and Chopper up against Stussy, and Stussy could, fan out about how cute Chopper is or something like that, maybe. Or the safest route, just have Zoro show up literally in the next chapter. He's gotten lost, show that Brook Brooke was looking for Zoro for like a little bit, like, Zoro, where'd you go? I just literally went to use the bathroom, but I have no bones, yo ho ho. So yeah, that could be a safe bet, but I'm not sure with that. At the end of this, this was a good chapter, a lot of information. Thank you for all the support, and yeah, it's been a bumpy road this year. We made it to December. Like, I have actually accumulated a decent amount of subscribers over this time. And I appreciate all of you that have been able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, not everybody has a YouTube account, you know? So I'll figure that out on how to reach out to more of you, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna keep this train going and, you know, going to the next year strong. I'm not gonna do any promises that I'm gonna do a video every day for Christmas. I'm still new at this, so give me time before I just try to do some stuff like that. So y'all take care, and I'll see y'all later.